Now a bit of Hive project. What is the Hive project? It is the theory taken from the noopolitic noosphere by Van Tilhard that humans may be linked telepathically. And then there is exchange of skill and information on a high level. Why it is against human nature? Because you cannot make humans into an organic being, because it is not within our nature. Within our nature, there's the individuation and maturation and certain notion of free diversity and discovery on metaphysical laws. Now, this idea of the hive posits that there are no metaphysics apart from the, let's say, organic integration of the human beings into some kind of a monstrosity. And in 2014-13, when the Hive project was ongoing, I protested and warned them against the consequences of the Hive project. Yet I was not listened. Now, cybernetics, man-machine interface. The nervous system decoding, 1950s, 1960s CIA experiments on launching arousal and fear things. Neural monitoring, Blue Brain project, just a tip-off. If certain, let's say, neural wirings and circuits of your mind may be decoded and mapped, it is very easy to influence them. Copy paste cognitive affective scripts remotely, even from the satellite level. Some research in memory, cognitive research in the visual cortex and the frontal cortex. Recently, the experiments were started in 2013 in the Dream Team Lab in the Neurocognitive Laboratories of Berkeley. Then the patents went elsewhere. Now you have imaginings of the artificial intelligence visual core. The idea is to gather enough data sets to decode the working memory that is visual core completely. Now, Ashby's law of requisite variety, often called the first law of cybernetics, it states that in order to effectively control or regulate a system, the internal diversity and complexity of the controller must be equal to or greater than the diversity of the system it is trying to control. In other words, investing so much in AI has a fashion in governing. Let's say that you create a highly sophisticated yet internally consistent, diversified system that is based on artificial intelligence, which is being built in order to control societies. Combine it with the Hive project, you have perfectly pacified masses. That is this dystopia of a new world order, Huxleyan nightmare. Now, regarding people that believe that artificial intelligence, solid state intelligence, is merely a machine, and people getting paranoid on treating it as some kind of an oracle sometimes. In the paradigms of Cybermagick, if you know how to induce or work with certain egregores and servitors and then program them to influence the electromagnetic spectra, like imagine a processor or a motherboard. It's a physical device, but it is emanating electromagnetic spectrum, highly sophisticated logical operations that may be and have a magical layer to it, where Cybermagick starts. So, in short, the computational demonology, the neural monitoring, and the Hive project aside, every electronic device has a certain logic. And that logic may be translated into either machine language, into mathematical physical equations, chaotic oscillators, or the magical layer. And happenstance, to communicate with the machine, you need a low-level machine code, usually, directly to tap into it. So that, for example, if you have a signal electromagnetic for the past devices that were highly unsophisticated, you just needed to know how to reinforce this logical sequence through modulation, pulses, and so on. You may perform it from a satellite level in order to influence the machine. Now, if the machine and the human being in this cybernetics fashion is neurally codependent, you have complete mastery over the governing of the human mob that is not a master of the machine but a user of the machine, and you can shove whatever you want into them. So there are many layers of that. Layers, that is the machine level, the human level. You may delegate your soul into the machine, but the machine never has a soul. And if you want that next time, why you are on the subway and you are, let's say, uh, detoxed from watching your smartphones or whatever, and your mind, your eyes go towards the smartphone of some other random person on the subway, it is quite possible that that person, that man or woman, sacrificed their mental, pneumatic soul powers to this little device, focused. Like the best magicians are kids playing with a game, with the toys. They are very focused. And similar, the modern zombie is highly focused on this phone, highly focused, like turbo magic on a phone. And they give themselves away to this phone and the network of the shit they watch, empowering it. And that's managing of the mental, soul, and feeling energies combined in a little cybernetic device that is an interface to control you. Happy? I'm not. But I have to live in such a world. And I'm not a modern day ludus. I prefer to be a master rather than a user. Thank you.